What is up, Geeks and Geekettes? It's a very special trailer reaction video of the countdowns to the Geekcast. My name is Steady, and joining me as always is my partner in crime, the one and only Matty B. That guy.
It's
Mister.
scary season, people. It's scary season. I'm very excited to watch this. I haven't seen it yet, so let's check it out. Ted, what is it?
This is going to be our Halloween Ends trailer reaction, and this is the final trailer for Halloween Ends. And if you've been watching the show for, I don't know, since we started, you know damn well I am a major Halloween franchise fan. We've covered a majority of the movies that have came out since we started, and yeah, I'm a massive fan. This movie I've been waiting for a very long time because COVID delayed it, right? So it got pushed back. So yeah, we're gonna get into the trailer right now and talk about it very briefly. But here we go. This is the final trailer for Halloween Ends, and I'm gonna kind of preface this by saying we're going to cover the video, so you're gonna have to watch it kind of separately on your own. But we're gonna talk about it afterwards, and we're covering it because movie studios tend to block these videos or mark them for copyright infringement afterwards. So gonna block it, so you're not gonna see the whole thing on this screen. But please watch it on your own and then come back and see what we have to say about it. Here we go. Final trailer. Here we go.
It's been 4 years since Michael Myers vanished without a trace.
Hello.
I was certain that I saw him watching me.
You pretend like you moved on, but you're actually just obsessed with death.
What are you gonna do when Michael comes back for you? Because he is coming.
But this time, something feels different. He's more dangerous. He killed my daughter. But tonight, I will kill him. Come and get me. Maybe the only way he can die is if I die too. It all ends now. You came here to kill me, so do it.
All right. The trailer for Halloween Ends October 14th, which will have a hybrid release. It will be on streaming on the Peacock app as well as be released in theaters. Matty B, your kind of instant take of that trailer.
I love it. I'm so excited that Jamie Lee Curtis is coming back into this role and is apparently going to end Halloween. I don't think that's actually going to happen. I don't think this is the last in the series, but maybe the last for her sort of timeline with it. Again, we talked about this on another stream, kind of our Hugh Jackman take. It's very similar here. We want to see her come back and get some vengeance here. The newest version of this that I just saw for the first time with you guys, it looks like kind of an extended version of the one we had seen before, but it looks incredible. Is How could you not be excited? It's Halloween. Like, you can almost smell the leaves burning in the air. We're getting a new Halloween movie.
I am excited, and there's few callbacks. There's pool death, and I believe there was a pool death in either Halloween 4 or 5, where we were dealing with Laurie
Yeah,
Strode's niece. Can't
mhm,
remember which one. And then a bit of a time jump, right? She says 4 years have passed. Those have got
yeah.
to been some very anxiety filled 4 years if you're Laurie Strode.
Oh,
Um,
hell yeah! Oh my gosh.
yeah, 4 years of just waiting and just like nervous all the time. That's pretty crazy, but it's sort of on par. You've had a lot of Halloween films where Michael survives at the end, and there's a bit of a time jump, or he has time to sort of, heal his wounds from prior films. So that's kind of on par with what they typically do in this franchise. I'm wondering if I'm also surprised to hear that her daughter died. I think like it was implied at the end of the last movie, but you're also wondering like, yeah, does she survive? It's kind of odd that they would choose to do it like that at the very end of a movie where she kind of
Yeah.
um just like walks off on her own at the end, just unwittingly just puts herself in harm's way. That was sort of an odd choice, but interesting plot twist from Halloween Kills at the end of that one. I'm just hoping for this film to stick the landing. I think the first one in this trilogy was a solid step in the right direction. Halloween Kills, there were some elements I really enjoyed, and then there was other elements where I'm just like, I wish we would have kind of spent a lot of less time looking for the other mental patient that kind of took away from the story a little bit. But this one, I hope they stick the landing. I'm a major fan. I want to see it do well, and I'm just excited as you are for
Yeah,
to see this movie.
it was funny with Kills though, because it was like, because when you're talking about the mental patient, it's almost like you're trying to set it up as if we should like believe that someone else is like maybe potentially a villain, or there's something else going on. Well, we all know at the end of the day this is about our main character here. I mean, there's not much you can really stray away from that. Um, but I'm very excited again, like I said, to see Jamie Lee Curtis finish this out. I don't think she's going to do another Halloween movie. It's let's get back to the basics. Let's play the hits, and do them well. And if they do that with the Halloween franchise, it's going to be incredible. Um, I had a question for you, because I didn't know you were such a big Halloween fan.
Massive,
So
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So where does the Rob Zombies, the 2007 film, where does that sit with you on the Halloween scale?
Oh, fantastic. And this is a kind of a two-part answer, right?
Yeah,
Because I know almost for certain that his second film was sort of taken over by the studio. Rob Zombie made a solid introduction with Halloween, the first one
yeah.
that he did,
2007. It
and
was just Halloween, right?
just Halloween, yeah.
Yeah,
H1, we'll just refer to it as H1.
yeah.
I loved it. It was very different, but it also was very innovative for the franchise. It did a lot of cool things that I thought that the franchise hadn't done before. So I loved it. Ton of callbacks. Um, Danielle, I forget her name, but she's the best friend in his first movie and the second movie. She's actually Laurie's niece from the original. I'm not gonna say trilogy, from the original scope of film. She was the niece in Halloween 4 and Halloween 5, so it was great just seeing her back again. And so I love the first one. I thought it was great. I thought it was innovative. It tried a lot of different things, very risky. The second one, what I mentioned earlier, I feel like
Yeah, that was a
there
Rob
was
Zombie
a
film.
it wasn't a Rob Zombie film. It was from what I was kind of hearing that it was taken over by the studio. They didn't like the direction the story was going, and so they made him change a lot of things. And he, from what I kind of heard, hated the experience of making the second one because it was no longer his film. He had been taken hostage basically, and he was just forced to do whatever the studio wanted. If you ask me, I kind of felt like he was leaning towards Laurie Strode being the killer in the second one.
Hmm.
That she had had some sort of psychotic breakdown where she was sort of visualizing Michael committing these murders in the sequel, but we would have found out by the end of the movie that it was actually her the
Yeah.
entire time. Um, there was a French film that did something very similar. Tension was a French film about somebody who was hallucinating a serial killer
Yeah.
committing murders, and
And
it,
ended
it
up being the serial killer.
it ended up being her at the very end. Spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen High Tension. High Tension is what it was
Yeah.
called. Wonderful French horror film.
So where does 2000 rest with you then? So 2000 was the first time we got Jamie Lee Curtis like back.
You're talking about Resurrection with Busta Rhymes, or no
Yeah,
H2O? You talking about H2O?
H2O. Yeah.
H2O was an
Because
average Halloween film for
that was
me.
a turning point for the franchise, right? Where like they sort of shifted and they tried to make it about like what was like current, and it just didn't feel the same, all the way back from the beginning film. It's interesting. I've never talked to you about the Halloween, but I've watched all the films and I like it a lot. So I like to like find what your scale is and like place the movies there.
Oh
So
man. Well, if you ask me, I think H2O is sort of the average. It sits in the middle, and
yeah,
then you have movies that are better. You have movies that are worse. Resurrections is at the no, I'm sorry, the very bottom of my list. You're not going to change my mind on this. Is Halloween 6. Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers,
mm,
was the movie where they decided we're going to give you a reason why Michael does all this. And number one, you should never have a reason why Michael does
that's
anything.
what makes it terrifying.
Right. It's kind of like, where's the Joker from? You don't want to know where the Joker's from. The Joker
Yeah.
has an ambiguous origin story,
Or why The
and you're not
Strangers was
supposed to
so
know.
scary. You remember The Strangers? It was so scary because it's random. You don't know why this happened to these people.
Nope. So, number one, you never give Michael a reason for what he's doing, because that ruins the mysteriousness nature of
Yeah.
what he does. And then two, the reason they gave was just horrible. I don't recommend anybody watch Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. The only reason why you would want to is because it's Donald Pleasant's last performance in anything. He passed either towards the end of production or during post editing of the movie. But so Donald Pleasance is a legend in cinema. So 6 is at the very bottom. Then there's Resurrections. Then I'd probably say H2, Rob Zombie's H2. Then I would say Halloween 3, which I don't really consider in the franchise all that much. H2O, Halloween 5, Rob Zombie's Halloween 1. Then I'd say Halloween 4. And then I'd say Halloween 1. I haven't put any of these that we've saw in here, but I'll just say the first one, the Halloween H40, Halloween 40 years later, that's in my top half. Halloween Kills is probably it's probably on par with H2O. Like those are both in the
Yeah.
middle. And Halloween Ends, I hope, is also in my top half.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that you love this because like we do our Ghost Head show together. We're obviously, nerds and we like what we like, but there's something so special about these types of films around this time of year that Christmas can't even really rival. Like there's not that many Thanksgiving. I mean, you can think of some, but there's a lot of Christmas movies, right? And some people start watching those to like lead up to Christmas. I don't know if nothing hits harder than when you're coming out of summer and you see the weather start to change a little bit and you watch these films, especially some of the early ones and these franchises that have lasted so long that really ripens you up for this season and this holiday that Halloween does. And this franchise really encompasses all of that, even in its namesake.
Yeah, I never miss watching the original around the Halloween season in October. It's a tradition. It's a tradition
Yeah.
of mine, and I watch as many of them of the movies as I can. I tend to not watch 3 so much. Season of the Witch, just because it's out there. They decided like, oh, we're gonna make this sort of a random sporadic storytelling thing, and it didn't work, and they should never have tried it, but they learned their lesson. They tried to bring Michael back, and 4 and 5 will always have a very special place in my heart. They don't take themselves too seriously, although there's a lot of great story elements that I love about 4 and 5. And just the niece, who's played by Danielle. I hate that I can't remember her name, but she's fantastic as well. So yeah, I've been a major fan for a very long time, and I can't wait to see how this all ends. No pun intended. Any final thoughts on the trailer?
I mean, I could talk to you about this for an hour, but no. I thought the trailer was incredible. Of course, I'm going to be excited to see it. I hope that the weather's just a little bit colder. The smell of burnt leaves is in the air. That it's just it brings you into that moment and that vibe that Halloween is, and I think they're gonna nail it. I honestly do. There's no way you bring Jamie Lee back. They're not gonna ruin this. They're gonna play the hits. They're gonna play the hits that is Halloween movies, and they're gonna send it to the moon. And I'll board the ship.
Yeah, and I think there's also a lot of um, mirrored elements or things coming full circle, right? You see in the trailer they're making references to the original movies, so there's gonna be
Yeah,
a lot of callbacks to things that happened in previous movies. Uh, More importantly, the first one, because in this universe that we're on, Halloween 2 through the one that came out 4 years ago or 3 years ago never happened. So nothing happened in between. There was no
yeah,
Halloween 2, 4, 5, or 6. Those were all erased from
the
um,
canon.
from canon. Yeah, Danielle Harris is the name of the actress. I apologize to Danielle. I forgot her last name, Danielle Harris. But anyways, yeah, it's gonna be great. I have to see this in theaters. My son, I kind of put him onto the franchise as well, so he wants to see it in theaters as well. I hope you guys out there get a chance to see it in theaters. If you don't want to go to the theater, watch in the comfort of your home on the Peacock app, it should be a great time. I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping they impress us with this movie.
I think they will. Every beginning has its end. The trailer did it perfect. The callbacks to the beginning. Every beginning has an end, and you don't get to the end without the beginning. And it's a perfect tie up. And I'm ready to see what they do. I'm pretty freaking excited, Ted.
As am I. For the Geekcast, my name is Steady. Joining me on this Halloween Ends trailer reaction is one and only Matty B.
Love you guys. Stay tuned.
Take it easy.